Hey, how's it going, guys? Man, it's been a long week. We were out of town for a couple days on a job. Had to get that done, get back, and we've been really busy at work. So I'm just now getting back into the garage. And we had a real bad storm last night. We had a tornado that touched down, and about 4 or 5 miles away from us, a little town called Reedyville, Tennessee. And they got hit pretty hard, so prayers to all the families out there. And the good news is nobody died. There was a couple people injured, but it took out a lot of houses, a couple of businesses, an historic mill. So this is one of those days I've been up all night with the warnings and everything. So anyway, I'm out here in the garage. Got finished doing some cleaning, picking up the tools and stuff from putting Ethan's car back together. And getting ready to go out back and bring in the parts car. I need to get the hood off of it. Like I was telling you in the other videos, the hood that came off the car is going to get cleaned up. It's going to go to Kiwi's. I got to get him the paint coat on it. He's going to repaint the hood for us. And so in the meantime, we're going to be using the one off the other parts car. And it's the same color, but there's a little bit of damage on the hood towards the passenger side of the windshield. But for now, it'll keep the engine bay sealed up until we get the hood back from Kiwi. So where we left off, it was running, driving. We went ahead and put the rest of the stuff on it. So basically everything's buttoned up underneath the hood now. Got the cowl back on it, the windshield wipers back on it. Got the front nose back on it. So everything's good to go on that. Just need to get a hood on it, get it outside. And Ethan still needs to make an appointment with the shop to get the exhaust done. But at least it's running and driving, moving underneath its own power. So let me see if I can get the parts car to start up and get it here to the driveway so I can get the hood off of it, put it on this, back this out, and get the parts car in, and kind of give you an overview of everything we're going to try to take out of this car and put it in this Lark. Now, this morning I kind of piddled around a little bit when I was cleaning. You can tell there's a lot of stuff on the paint from where it's set, but it looks like it's going to come out. I just got to get the right compound and the right wheel. I kind of messed with it a little bit by hand earlier, and I think it's going to come out pretty good. I mean, there's going to be some blemishes in it like that, but other than that, I mean, it looks like it's going to polish out pretty good. And we're not going for a pristine paint job on this. I mean, because a lot of this paint looks like it'll buff out really good. So basically we're going to try to match front to the back. And just kind of be like a, try to save as most of the paint that we can. So anyway, let me go grab the car and I'll be right back. All right, I got the parts car out of the backyard. As you see, they're basically both the same color. Well, this is what I was talking about here. A little bit of damage on the hood. But for now, she'll do. And a lot of people have been asking, why am I cutting up a perfectly good car? Well, the story behind this car is there's an issue with the title. The title is considered no good. Underneath of it is pretty banged up. Where they had it lowered pretty good. The motor's got a slight knock in it, which of course I'm gonna be pulling that motor or engine out and rebuilding it to go into the Lark. So the issue with the title, it is what it is. But we bought it as a parts car anyway. That's where we got the coilover suspension for that Lark, or for the SRT8. But we're going, like I said, I'm gonna take the hood off. And the goal on this is I'm going to be pulling the interior out of it, the dash out of it, the steering, and the floor pans. And all that's going to be used in the Lark. Now, the guys who've been watching this for a while already know this, but for you new guys, that's what's happening with that. So let me get some wrenches out, or some sockets. Let me get this hood off. and get it on to his car so we can bring this one in. So taking it off was the easy part off the other car. Now it's putting it back on by myself because Ethan's still not back yet. So I hope I don't struggle with this too much. Hope I don't take out his windshield. Not too bad. All right, let's see how it's gonna fit. Not too bad on the first try. Looks like the gaps are pretty much even. And like I said, it's for now. Once we get the hood painted, that one will line back up where it's supposed to. And get her backed out and get the other one in here. parts car in. And I'm gonna go a little bit more extensively of what all we're gonna take out of this, what we're gonna get rid of, and hopefully I can get to work in the Lark. It probably would have been a good fixer-upper maybe for personal use, not for resale, but like I said, underneath is banged up, the cane member is banged up. The exhaust was ripped out of it. Someone's already pulled the cats out from underneath it. Because originally the guy we got it from was going to be parting it out. And Ethan made a deal with him and bought the whole car for the coilover setup. You can see all that on previous videos. So kind of scroll down because I really don't have a playlist on how we got the car, what we got off of it so far. So now we're to the point to where I need to start stripping this thing down. I'm gonna be using the floor pans out of it, the seats out of it, and I'm gonna try to use some of the dash. We'll see what happens with that. I'm gonna be using the cluster and everything. So where we're at on this is on the Lark Gen 3 Nag 1. This is the motor that's going to be coming out of it. So it's got 145,000 miles on the motor, but man, it's got some hard 145,000. This thing's been used and abused. It's got a slight knock in it once it warms up. So now I'm going to have to go through and check the crank out. But you can see where it's just been, where this intake's been leaking, so it's not running right on that aspect. So it's going to need a full rebuild. The plans for this engine is basically going to be rebuild it, board if necessary. We're going to put a stage 2 cam in it, nothing real big yet. And because like I said, you know, we're going from a 5,000 pound car to a 2,800 pound car. The game plan is to use the wiring harness out of the car because I do want to run the Nag 1. As far as I know, I don't think the Terminator X supports the Nag 1, but I'll have to check. But I know a while back when I first started thinking about doing this, they weren't. So I might have to reach out to Holly and see if there's any way we can do that. If we can, then I'll get the Terminator X. If not, I'm basically going to have to sit there and rip out the whole wiring harness on this thing, the fuse box, you know, computer, wiring harness from the back to the front. That's one of the reasons why I want to use the dash and everything. So we'll see how that goes all that. The engine is coming out, transmission is coming out. From what I was told, the radiator is not that old, which is a good thing because, I mean, we've got another one, but if I can take this out in one unit, that's going in the Lark. And evidently they were having some sensors issues because, man, there is like wires all over the place to run these fans. It's like they got it here to the fuse box, run down to the fan, and then they got a wire going inside underneath the dash. And but like I said, this thing was just like hacked. But at the end of the day, I've got a drivetrain out of it. That's all that matters. Now, as far as the inside goes, let's go to it. So now, as far as the inside, I mean, the interior for the most part is in really good shape. But I'm not going to be able to use the dash itself. Number one, it's too deep. Yeah, I can probably cut it down and try to make it work and form it. But we're going to go ahead and do a custom dash in the Lark anyway, because the stock one is really in bad shape. And Brad decided, let's go ahead and just build a custom one. But I want to be able to use the console, which stops here and goes underneath the dash. So I'm thinking about cutting this section out here of the dash, just so we can have that whole center section, which has the clock, the radio, and stuff like that, and kind of blend it into the custom dash. We're going to be using the steering wheel out of it as well. And like I said, we're going to be using the seats. They're not too bad. I mean, they've got a couple little tears in them, but they can be fixed at the upholstery shop. But considering this is being all donated to the Lark, that's not going to be that big of a deal. And so now the parts I'm going to be selling off this thing which I've already got it on Marketplace. It's going to be the right front fender, all the doors, the trunk lid, the tail lights, the sunroof, and that's going to be it. The rest of it we're going to be cutting up for this. Possibly got the front suspension and the rear cradle sold to somebody else. We'll see how that goes. And but that's what's coming out on it. And you never know, we might get to the point we say screw it and we cut the car in half. Let me know in the comments. But that's where we're at with this. So probably here in the next couple of weeks, you're going to be getting content of us tearing this car apart. Hopefully Ethan can be doing some of this so I can get back on the Lark and finish some welding I've got to do. I got to make some more pieces that are rusted out. Get those welded in first, so that way everything stays stable with the body on the Lark. Get that done out of the way, get some measurements, and start cutting. And with me using the floor pan out of this thing, it's basically part of the structure of the car. There's some braces I'm going to have to drill out and get out of the way. So that's going to take a little bit of time. And yes, I know they sell patch panel kits and stuff for the Lark and stuff like that. But the whole purpose of me wanting to use the floor pan out of this, if anything else, if I can't, I can at least use the tunnel for the transmission. But the goal is to be able to get it fitted in there. That gives me my holes for my seat. I don't have to drill any holes out. That gives me my trans tunnel going to the back. But we'll see how it goes. I know I'm running out of time, so hopefully I can get this thing done by the end of September. So we'll see how it goes. I've got a lot on my plate on this thing, and I really got to get rolling on it. But other than that, guys, I'm going to get off of here and get this thing pushing a little bit more. And hopefully with this week or so, we'll start getting on it and start tearing it apart. Other than that, guys, you have a good one, a safe one, and we'll see you down the road.